Hey, this is kind of a little disclaimer. This video, I don't think it'll ever get finished. So I'm just uploading it here now because, I don't know, I put a lot of effort into it. I just don't like how it came out, really. I don't know, the intro is kind of bad. I don't know why I speak like that in the intro, ignore that, but yeah. It's definitely a possibility that I finish making a Amnesia the Bunker video essay. Just probably not this one. I'll probably come back to it with a new script. Anyways, enjoy. Now, I'm just gonna go ahead and assume that none of you need an introduction to Amnesia the Dark Descent. But, I'm gonna explain it anyways, cause...
Do you want a chicken nugget?
I don't even want to look at it.
The game is mostly remembered for being the catalyst for quite literally the entire horror scene on YouTube, being the first real horror game to pop off and popularize the genre of Let's Plays besides, well, Slender the 8 Pages. Looking back on it, although it's easy to call it out as trendy slop, the original 8 Pages was generally a well-executed little horror game, and it had that, trash Unity game charm, if you call it that. I don't know. The atmosphere was immediate and unkind, and it definitely succeeded in getting a reaction out of those who played it. Now, you see, the difference between Slender the 8 Pages and Amnesia was that Slender was a low-effort, sort of one-off type of thing. You couldn't really replay it after completion, while in Amnesia, there's an entire overarching plot, different endings, and various mysteries to be found within the game. Now, look, when viewing The Dark Descent, you're gonna have to keep in mind the environment it was in at the time. With Resident Evil forgetting its identity and most other horror titles completely missing the mark when it came to making the player feel uneasy, Frictional Games just said fuck it, and did away with the weapons, just giving you a source of light and some good luck alongside it. That's not the only thing they revolutionized though, as beyond not being able to fight against the monsters, there are various other mechanics and things you had to keep track of. The sanity feature, the game's flagship idea, basically made it to where you gained the mental stability of a New Englander whenever you looked at the various monsters who stayed in the dark for too long. Usually this just meant hallucinations and the occasional seizure on the floor.
I am processing the most triggering breakup I've had in 9 years.
But this was especially dangerous when there were monsters on your ass.
Wait, Bunny, your friend has us online. You know, he's like, oh, you're probably a little douche. And I'm like, piss off. What? Someone's at the door, grab that.
Also, on the higher difficulties, it just straight up killed you. So, yeah, that's nice. The atmosphere of Amnesia was a palpable one. There was nothing like it before 2012, the closest we ever got being the dreary and twisted corridors of Silent Hill.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
She said she was fine by herself. Said a fatso like me would just slow her down.
Between the serenity of the back hall and the utter chaos of the submerged chambers just before it, The Dark Descent stood out from the rest of the slop through its stunning visuals and stressful-ass mechanics. The game was a genuine masterclass. Oh shit, somebody already made that video. And what made the early 2010s horror so good. And not to mention Miko Tarmia's soundtrack that tied together every encounter in chamber incredibly well. The Dark Descent was definitely more than just a horror game though, and you could really tell that Frictional Games wanted this thing to be memorable. The game's Castle Brandenburg wasn't just an enclosed, horrible string of corridors and rooms, but it was also a grand, almost beautiful resting point for the player at times. Sure, it housed unimaginable evil, but it also held a twisted sense of hope that was prominent throughout the game. And it's definitely very unique for that, I'd say, as other horror games at the time, and well, even now, just have the experience of non-stop terror that wears off in about 12 minutes if you're lucky. Yo, why did I just suddenly start dissing Outlast here for no reason? Also, side tangent, but I feel like the visuals being 2012 era only aids in the madness inducing an almost like chapped feeling of the castle, if that like makes any sense in the slightest. I don't know. I just love how this game aged like fine wine, even if we're all desensitized to the visuals of the grunts. So what's the point of all this glazing of the Dark Descent, you may be asking? Like, isn't this a video about the bunker or something? Trust me, little man, we're getting there. I just want to emphasize the real effect of the Dark Descent's release and how well executed and unique of a horror game it was for that time. The Dark Descent's effect on the horror genre really is something to be admired. Like, it literally transformed the cookie-cutter formula for horror games entirely for a full decade and counting. You gotta keep in mind that people ate this shit up back then, man. Like, this game straight up made some people's careers.
What a fucking
And for good reason, too. This is a damn good horror experience even to this day. Now, me personally, I'd rank it as second place on the list of Amnesia games. First place obviously being A Machine for Pigs. Get it through your head, libtard. Seriously though, can I just take a moment to discuss the games in the franchise leading up to the bunker? Like, sure, A Machine for Pigs story and holy shit, its soundtrack. But god damn that gameplay. As you could probably grasp from the Steam reviews for this game, fans of the original really didn't like it. I mean, like, you couldn't even pick up or throw anything in this game, man. Clearly A Machine for Pigs is better than the bunker, because does the bunker have an E-Wiz pig? Yeah, didn't think so good on my lobby, kid. Amnesia Rebirth.
I am freaky.
It's got a pregnancy button. So clearly it's S tier. Just like A Machine for Pigs, Rebirth's reception, although definitely more positive, because this time it was actually made by Frictional, was still pretty average. All of these games' issues could be boiled down to a lot of things, but one in particular stands out: their gameplay mechanics. Playing the Dark Descent made you feel small and tiny, and like you were powerless in the face of things that Daniel could not ever hope to truly understand. And the gameplay pretty fittingly reflected that, with you having to keep your sanity by not looking at these otherworldly creatures and hiding in an attempt to not be maimed by them. It's a stressful yet appealing system that punishes the player for not being smart with how they use the tools that the game gives them. Meanwhile, in A Machine for Pigs, all the resources and sanity mechanics were completely cut, leaving a bland walking simulator that was too scared to actually kill the player. Truly a Chinese room moment. 7 years after that, we got Amnesia Rebirth, and that game definitely took a lot of steps forward from A Machine for Pigs. In fact, it basically included the same sanity and darkness mechanics from Descent. It also included whatever the fuck this thing is, but hey, it looks cool, so it gets a pass. Yeah, and remember, I didn't fully play this game, so this is completely off my own research. Its gameplay was somehow still ass, and was still far too focused on the story it was trying to tell than actually trying to scare the player. Truly, a Frictional Games moment.
What a fucking
Nice person!
Jeez, oh my god, what the fuck?
What did you say?
In the year 2023, Amnesia the Bunker was released. Originally, the Bunker was just planned to be a little add-on for Rebirth, just like how Justine was for the Dark Descent. Oh, whoops, yeah, I forgot to talk about Justine, didn't I? It's literally just a Portal 2 promotion.
Neil Staples still can't believe what he heard while playing the video game Portal 2 with his 10-year-old adopted daughter Zoe.
All right, fatty, adopted fatty, no pet.
Yeah, I need to stop burping during recording, but I guess they just saw too much potential with the concept of the DLC to relegate it to just that. And hey, I'm not complaining. I'm the one making the long-ass video essay in the funny French game. Alright, let's just get this out the way real quick. I'm going to format this video to include as much information on this game as physically possible. I'm going to be touching on the atmosphere, the story, the gameplay, basically everything. I'll also be including as much information on the development of this game as I could find online, because I think that's really interesting. Yep, I have a lot to say about this game, and I know way too much trivia on it. And since I've yet to see any other YouTuber go this in depth on the Bunker, I thought it'd be cool to go ahead and be the first. Look at me, I'm a pioneer, aren't I so cool? I'm not just going to be analyzing a single aspect of this game, I'm going over everything. Now, right off the rip, you can already tell this Amnesia game is going to be, just a little bit different. You're dropped into the fucking trenches as heavy artillery and bloodshed surround you, which is completely tame in comparison to, holy shit, man, get that off the screen, that's way too intense. You play as Henri Clement, a French soldier during World War I, currently in the middle of trench warfare against enemy Germans. This game is completely ruthless in its portrayal of war. This ain't no COD where you're gonna be quickscoping and screaming at minorities. You're gonna be making your way through mud-infested trenches, crawling through debris, and praying an enemy soldier doesn't hear you. War is utterly indifferent in its destruction. Anything and anyone in its wake will be absolutely decimated. And that includes you. We all like to think of ourselves as these epic main characters that'll go on an absolute rampage and get a 20 kill streak to call in the nuke. But in reality, most of us would end up as just another casualty. The Bunker plays the danger and reality of war completely straight. This game is absolutely ruthless in its portrayal of war, but I'll be going a lot more into that later. Trust me. This whole section serves as a tone setter and an excuse to get you used to the game's controls and mechanics. As you make your way through the trenches, you find yourself some ammo for your gun. And holy shit, does your gun feel like a gun. The sound design combined with that kickback makes it feel like this thing really can kill a person. Like, dude, the recoil of this thing genuinely feels like it's gonna cause like permanent damage to my monitor. After a few more tutorials and encountering some very unhappy Germans, we're introduced to Augustin Lambert. And fuck me, I am not pronouncing that first name again. No, I'm just gonna call him Lambert. Henri's best friend and fellow French soldier. He's the guy that was yelling at us to get into cover earlier. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that was him. This guy's a real one and takes out any of the remaining Germans that you haven't taken care of yourself. And before you ask, no, you can't shoot Lambert. I'm fairly certain Henri and Lambert didn't actually know each other before the war broke out. They simply befriended each other upon being stationed at their unit, finding humor in each other's passion for YouTube pranks.
What's the 3? Butthead Street.
After your brief reunion, you're introduced to a few new mechanics, namely healing, crafting, and using grenades. Don't worry, I'll be talking about these mechanics more in depth later. I just want to get the intro out of the way real quick. Also, can I just talk about how well the atmosphere of these trenches are Oh my god. Also, can I just talk about how well the atmosphere of these trenches are executed? No matter where you are, you don't feel safe. Which is really unfortunate because you are in fact completely safe in this section. Unless you're a fucking dumbass like me who thought it'd be a good idea to blow up an explosive barrel point blank and subsequently have to restart from the very beginning, yeah. But that's besides the point. From the distant gunshots, to the screams of soldiers mourning their dead friends, and to the occasional artillery shells that fuck with your camera, it all sells that feeling of hopelessness real soldiers had to live through, even though most of them could even get the luxury of getting that far. Henry travels deeper and deeper into the trenches, till he finds himself in a conveniently steep hole where he's subsequently gassed out. The end.
One time is funny, two times is fucking annoying, no?
Just kidding. The goat Lambert comes in to save the day by giving Henry a gas mask. I love this guy. Lambert manages to guide us back to the rendezvous and to our bunker, but one of us has to stay out for the night and patrol. The two decide to determine who has to go out with a little friendly game of dice, and Henry wins, condemning Lambert to tonight's patrol. It's desolate out here. You've come out looking for Lambert after he didn't make it back to your bunker that night, and fearing the worst, you've entered no man's land, an incredibly dangerous area, brimming with the consequences of World War I. An uneasy and dreadful atmosphere overwhelms you, compounded by the visceral imagery of men that have been shot, charred, and trampled. The large, open, and devastated scenery of the area only brings a feeling of dread. That maybe, just maybe, Henry could be shot in the head at a moment's notice. Henry, despite this, endures forward until he spots a massive crater in the earth. A crater that is currently holding Lambert hostage.
Here, drink this. Then I'm going to get you out of here.
That's about where I got to. Originally, the video was going to be aiming towards like an hour or so long, but I don't know. I would rather just redo it with a new script. So, yeah. I hope you enjoyed it, because I sure did. Because making this video was actually really fun. I liked it. Okay, bye.